20. Time to wrap it up, wrap it down, wrap it over.
Brad, that song you said, was that a new song you did? The Weed Man?
No, that was from '09. It was just hilarious.
So
They were on
funny.
tour and just did a fresh joke, and it got tons of hits and tons of people.
Send
And
it
they
to
were
Doug's
writing. He was
email.
like, it was kind of just a joke with me and the tour bus or something to do.
Right.
But it's a rad song.
It's
Like,
so
it's a pretty
funny.
good one because he's
You can
just
tell they're just in a day goofing around.
full goofing on Lil Wayne and stuff, you know, but
Fair.
without, you know,
Right.
just for fun. And I forgot about it, and then I found it the other day. Thank goodness. Please join the webinar or iPhone One Tap US or Telephone Tap Web ID. You just sent me like 15 different phone numbers.
What's her phone number? I can text it directly to her unless you want to copy it. You can copy it and then paste it into a message to her.
This whole thing,
Yeah.
and then she can use any of these numbers.
Mm-hmm. Or you can just copy the please click on the link to join the webinar. I have options, but yeah, it's too much. Not.
Welcome, everybody. We're just warming up, and we wanted you
Oh,
to
it's
see
time.
this loop of video. So get situated and get your wine together.
We're doing Chardonnay first?
Yeah, I was thinking rosé first, unless you think. How do you think they should go? We won't really leave it up to the winemaker.
Oh,
I just did them. Not that I go both ways, but I did try them each in different sequences. They're fine. Is that on?
yeah, let's do rosé.
I'll do that. Sorry, Gibbs.
You're good.
Our producer just gave me a look. Kill. Jose. Happy Thursday. It's beautiful weather. Perfect time around here for rosé. Unless you're in New Jersey, I was talking to my friend Walter White, not from the show. That's actually his name, not New Jersey, and it was raining. And he said, it reminds me of fall. And I said, it's kind of like fall here today too, but it was just sort of breezy, sort of fallish. But now it got really nice out. This is definitely great weather. It's sunny. It's like 82 out.
The perfect day for palate wrap. I'm Josh Beckett. This is my brother Jake Beckett. Peachy Canyon Winery here in the house. Kind of our Thursday 1 o'clock episode of
Fifth episode.
a little gathering and to talk about wines and new wines every week. And this week, fortunately, with the great weather, we got rosé and Chardonnay.
Yeah, rosé and Chardonnay. If you were here with us in the fourth episode last week, we talked about this really cool 4-pack that we have for Mother's Day, but also just a fun 4-pack in general that started off with the West Side Insert Divin, and this is the second half of that 4-pack, which is our rosé and our Chardonnay. And yeah, it's a great day. I'm glad that lined up perfect. Thank you, producers. Did you know the weather was going to be awesome?
It's timed the wines for the weather. It got everybody out in California. We're all in trouble now for this last weekend little heat wave, especially on the coast. People not abiding by the stay at home, but
Yeah, you have a friend with a pool and you guys can swim at opposite ends. It might be a good weekend for that. Or you can take turns. You could rotate. Or at the local
stay at
pond.
home and just grab the hose and stay cool.
Mm-hmm. Bubble bath and rosé is always nice.
Yes, yeah. So we get into the wines. So the first wine we brought today. So Peachy Canyon, I do the wine in the vineyards, and Jake does vineyards and sales, and then we collaborate on everything. Kind of Peachy Canyon does it every day is different for us, and we're kind of fortunate that way, where Jake and I are high energy and don't sit still for very long, very well. So we like to have our hands and interact and everything. And I don't know where I was going with that. Maybe on another introduction. But back to, I know the rosé, and when we have 2 rosés. So we have, we do have a fish label rosé at our tasting room. It's more of what we would consider our high-end rosé.
Yeah, it's more of a traditional Grenache, Syrah,
where
Rosé.
where we go in and we actually do an early pick of Grenache and early pick of some of our Rhones to make that specific rosé. Limited production, tasting room only. And then this is more of our everyday style rosé, which is made more in the Saunier method. But when I say everyday, there's 137 cases we made. It
Yeah,
wasn't like it was a
limited
crazy
production. The one with the fish label Josh referenced is a higher price point, and like he said, we make it differently. This was our distribution rosé, but we made 200 cases, if that, 180.
Yeah, I think it was 199.
199.
Yeah, 199.
So relatively limited production, and we've just been trickling it out the last year. We launched it last summer, and it's awesome. It's showing great. It's really crisp.
It's really, it's so, like we were saying, the fish label, we picked specifically the Zin and the Rhones to it at early, where this is 100% Zin. I wouldn't call it a white Zin, but we Saunier from our high-end Zinfandel dry farm blocks here on the Mustang Springs Ranch.
And when he says Saunier,
right.
he means
Pooling. After we destem the grapes, we actually drain off the tank or pull a little out of the bin for a greater juice to skin ratio for the red ferment. But we also like that juice to get it off the skins right away, because it does have those nice aromatics and flavors that make for a beautiful rosé at the same time.
So yeah, so it has a couple of different purposes. The Saunier for the red is to concentrate that red portion of that program, and then we can also use that juice that we pull off to make a really nice rosé. And after about a day or so in the tank, a 24-hour soak, that juice has some nice color from the skin contact, but not too much. You can still have this pretty salmon color.
Yeah, or we can pull this off and still get this nice, beautiful color. And why I don't reference it, or I don't think, even though it is Zin, I wouldn't call it a white Zin, because
it's not sweet.
It's not sweet, but it's got beautiful acidity, nice fruit flavors. So it's definitely more of a a sophisticated wine than if we just labeled it white Zin.
Yeah, no way. This thing retails for like $14, and it'll go heads up with any $20 rosé out there. It's a killer price point. Something that we wanted our distributor partners to be able to use for on-premise, and we still will in the future once on-premise is a viable place for us to sell wine, but also to be a price point on the shelf that was right under that $15 mark. So I think it's an extremely fair price for really well-made rosé style wine. And like Josh said, the acid is there, it's crisp. It pairs well with ceviche. Susie had mentioned at the end, we're going to talk about some cheese pairings for both these, but that type of acid in there can handle foods like that.
Yeah.
And Josh said earlier, it's a standalone wine. We like this. My other half and I like this when the summer comes.
Right now, yeah, it's got the nice guava. It's got strawberries. It's almost got a little match flint on the nose. They got a little,
And then to step it up a little bit more, the juice that we're using from these, the tanks we're pulling from, this is West Side Zin. So this is badass estate fruit that we're using. So really clean, well grown. It comes from grapes that are low yield, smaller production, really nice flavors. So this is all pure product.
And then you're not getting any barrel time on this either, which really still allows for those fruit aromatics to come out, and really those kind of Zin characteristics. This goes to concrete and stainless, and it's a blend of both. It's in concrete for about 3 months actually during fermentation, which really is nice.
That is cool. Yeah, we probably haven't talked about that much. We do have concrete tanks here at Peachy Canyon, and that allows us we can age wines in our concrete tanks and get a little bit more extraction out of them, similar to a barrel without giving it any barrel characteristics, aromas,
any of that spice or
Smokiness,
sweet or
spice,
smoky, any of the wood component, yet the concrete will breathe like this wine, let it age. So we got some complexity.
And gives it some minerality, which is nice.
Yeah, beautiful.
So that's cool. Fun wine. This is the first, it's actually the first for us, the 18.
Yeah.
This 18, what we call the classic label rosé. Classic because it matches our west side, our Peachy Cane west side, and some of the original design and layout that our parents, Doug and Nancy, came up with back in '88. So, yeah, check it out.
So yeah, it's awesome. Everyday rosé. Can't go wrong. Not a lot of it, but it's definitely still available and enjoying it. I tried it last night as well. When I got home from work, it was awesome.
So Gibbsy said,
Two.
too easy. It's an easy one. Be careful. Get two.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely get two. It's pretty mellow too. It's not gonna knock you on your keister. It's
Just
Very
barely
well.
scratching the
Balanced.
surface is over 14 alcohol.
so, but you can't taste it. Again, there's
No.
enough fruit, those floral, those aromas, and that acidity really carry it. It doesn't smell. You can't smell any alcohol. It's just it's a good balance. On one.
All right. Rosé. All day. All day rosé.
Not to be confused with Rose B.
No. Chardonnay. So this is, you think, wow. Paso Robles Chardonnay. Yes, but this is actually York Mountain Chardonnay. A little bit different than there is a ton, lots and lots of Chardonnay grown in Paso Robles. Definitely debatable on whether Chardonnay should be grown in Paso Robles, but that is not our conversation today. When we make Chardonnay, we like to go to York Mountain. York Mountain AVA is just west of the Paso AVA. Used to be a part of the Paso AVA, but I think it was in 1984. York Mountain became its own AVA. It is significantly different from Paso Robles. It is only 7 miles from the Pacific Ocean, and predominantly, the whole AVA is 1,500 feet in elevation, where a lot of the west side is high in elevation as well, but a lot of the east side of Paso is not that high in elevation. So
400.
it is very unique and very different, and the reason that's why we went to York Mountain to make Chardonnay. We wanted to, we understand and appreciate the cooler climate that it has, the really hard growing soils, really chalky limestone, low vigor, so you get a lot of good extraction, a lot of good Rhone varietals coming out of the York Mountain AVA.
Ton of coastal
Yeah.
influence, and it allows these types of grapes that don't handle that intense heat that we get
Right.
here in the heart of the Paso AVA. So it's definitely a unique spot.
Yeah.
As close as it is to us, it's got its own.
But we felt that it
characteristics.
would give a lot of people like Monterey for Chardonnay, or Santa Maria or San Ynez more for Chardonnay, but we felt that this York Mountain could do similar characteristics. And it's a beautiful wine. Again, limited production. I think it retails out of the tasting room for like $32. I think, would we do like 100, that's where I got the 137. Yeah, limited production, 137 cases.
It's something we do pretty much for our tasting room. This isn't a wine we distribute, so if it was something you were looking for, thought it might be interesting for you to try, it's definitely a call up the tasting room or get on our website to get it to your kitchen table or your back porch with your friends and family. We have a question up on the board that we'll get to. How do I smell a wine properly? How do I smell a wine?
I think
Can I answer it, smart Alec? Or make sure you use your nose. The way I was shown growing up was that the glass, the reason that we're swirling it is to open up the wine, but also to coat the inside of the glass. So you're creating this atmosphere of aromas from this wine. So I like to give the glass a nice little swirl.
Get in there. Don't be afraid about getting in there, getting your nose in there.
It's a nice, deep, whiff of it and let it really sink in. And then, for me, I've admitted before on the show that I'm not the best at sensory evaluation. I like what I smell or I don't like what I smell. So I would say just if you find aromas that you find appealing and enjoy them, cool. If you're able to put a name to it, like, wow, that's lemongrass, that's rosemary, that's this, that's that, good on you. Better. That's why he's a winemaker. I am not. He's much better at that.
But if you're not, it's okay too. It doesn't matter whether you like it or don't like it.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong.
But really just swirl your glass, coat it so you can get a full breath of it, and just take a nice hit, and see what you think. Also, sometimes wines that are really chilled, and of course, we generally recommend that we taste whites chilled and then, more closer to room temp for the reds. But even whites, you'll notice something fun to do is you can warm them up with your hands a little bit as you get towards the end of your glass, and the different aromas will
definitely
come
could
through.
have a different wine than you started with. Yeah, and it's
Totally
sometimes
different.
even like the true test of a white wine or rosé, but it's really to find everything really about it is to smell it when it's warm.
Yeah,
It's
that mask a
really-
lot of smells having it. If it's so cold, you almost can't smell anything. And then something I like to do at the very end too, your glass is completely finished, you're done with it, smell it again. There's definitely a interesting smells that you can get out of a finished glass of wine where you just have a little teeny residual on the bottom. I like to do that.
I think
and
the
just see how it
barrel
evolves.
starts to come out a lot
Mhm.
when the wine is gone, and the barrel, the smokiness or the sweetness or the vanilla really come to fruition because the wine is not there anymore. All those fruit aromatics, but the barrel kind of still lingers longer in an empty glass sometimes.
With this one, I think food. This one makes me start thinking about pastas, Alfredo pastas, or just like a buttered pasta with some herbs and maybe some lemon juice drizzled over it because of the nice acidity here. I like the idea of shrimp. Back to Susie's ceviche.
And when you're thinking Chardonnay too on this wine, I wanted to point out before I forgot, this is not. Some people think I don't like Chardonnay. I don't like buttery over oak Chardonnay. This is not buttery Chardonnay. By any
Acid.
means. Yeah. And it's
This
got
is
nice
crisp.
fruit. This has a limited amount of new oak on it, high-end French oak, so it's not overwhelming. But it's definitely, there's no slug of American oak on it to really butter it up and sweeten it up at all.
And does it go through? So as far as fermentation on here, what causes these whites to be ultra buttery or not?
The
Doesn't have a lot to do
and
with
the
the ferment.
malic, yeah.
Whether you let it go through
Yes.
malolactic fermentation or not go through it.
Right. So this was, I don't know. I know it went through mallow. I don't know exactly where, if it was
Finished.
0.1 or 0.2 or 0.3, but we would consider it malic.
So is it the wines that don't
I'm
go
sorry.
through?
It's a little bit, there is a little bit malic left over to give it its acidity. It didn't 100% go through.
Okay.
I was thinking,
So when they go
reds.
the more buttery,
The
still
more
not-
mallow all the way dry.
and is that going to be more of a buttery
Yes.
style?
Yeah.
Whereas the ones that don't allow secondary fermentation, those are the crisper,
Too
more
much,
acidic
yeah.
types of
That
whites.
leaves some
Okay.
lactic acid. It gives it kind of that green apple, little snappiness to
I
it.
like them that way.
Yeah.
I've never been a big butterhead,
No.
but I do
Yeah.
like a little of my pasta.
Yes, absolutely.
With artichokes, this would be good. Oh my god.
A lot of the times on the ML malic lactic, we'll kind of watch it and let it take its course and taste it throughout. And then when we see it starting to get too creamy, too buttery, and then we go, no, we like that lactic level right there. Malic lactic.
Susie, you had some ideas for pairing this with cheeses, and we could not.
Does it sound like it's
Is it raining outside?
Is it raining?
No, it cannot be.
That's really weird if it is. It's totally sunny
We're
outside.
here. We have phantom noises going on.
Thanks
This is Susie Gadini.
Thank you for asking for my recommendation, Jay.
Yay! She had some cheeses I couldn't pronounce.
With the rosé, as you guys were talking about with the acids, and then it goes really great with a firmer cheese. I prefer cow's milk cheese. Yeah, it's like a
hard cheese.
Piave.
Gangsta cheese.
It's a hardcore cheese, like a Piave Parmigiano Reggiano. or Manchego if you prefer cheese from other animals besides cows. If you like
Goat
to
cheese.
Manchego, goat cheese and rosé is so perfect with a nice plate of charcuterie or
With some almonds drizzled with honey.
yes, some fresh cut strawberries, great fresh fruit.
What was the other cheese you had at the bottom of your list? It's probably on the screen. There's another one that sounded really good.
Piave and Manchego
There's
are
some
my
Piave and
go-to
Manchego,
with the
okay.
rosé, but I know a lot of people aren't used to eating like a Parmigiano or Reggiano just cut in little pieces, but the acids and the taste of the cheese, it really pairs well together. I like to drink this, as you said, poolside on a hot day or while you're making dinner. It's like your go-to glass of the aperitif. And the York Mountain Chardonnay, I think it's drinkable totally by itself. I love it. I appreciate it. It's the first AVA in the area, making it super special. That little break in the Santa Lucia Mountains, letting the air flow through and cooling the Chardonnay grapes. It's perfect.
And you're right though, a chunk of Parmesan. We're all raised on Parmesan should be either in that tub and already shredded, or you take your little chunk and you shred it. But I always take a hunk off, and I think it would be really good with the Chardonnay. That acid. I like to eat just straight Parmesan chunks, nibble on it while everything else is cooking, you know, if you got a pasta night. So I'm into that too. I even like the hard, like side of the heel of the wedge.
You eat the
too.
rind?
Yeah, it's good, that rind. Yeah, it's good.
Yep.
Killer. Yeah.
Oh,
So.
it would be good with a drunken cheese too, one that's like soaked in red wine. Now you guys got me thinking about cheese. I don't know.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Susie Gadini, marketing coordinator, Peachy Canyon Winery. Thanks, Susie.
Thank you.
Was it raining?
Wind. Wow.
It was extremely windy, and that was pine needles landing on our solar panels,
Nice. Yes, we are covered in solar panels where we sit.
lighting us up. Somebody likes the screw cap, so do we. We think it's great. Screw cap is wonderful, especially if you're a sipper and you're going to put it back in the fridge, you know, and you just want to have a little sip of some white wines. We also do our incredible red and screw cap, but it's great for people that don't need a whole bottle of wine. It's easy to open. It's easy to put back away also. And if it's lasting a couple of days, you don't have to pump it and seal it and all that. It's going to last a couple of days. You're fine. So yeah, we really like the screw cap too. It's a great addition to the program, having that option. And it definitely does not change the quality. There's a nostalgia behind pulling a cork out that a lot of us appreciate. And it's just kind of how we were raised or what we always saw. And it just seems like the right way to do it. And it works, but there's nothing wrong with the screw cap. It works just fine. In fact, you're pretty much guaranteed that your wine you're not going to get a funky bottle in the bunch if they're all screw caps. So it's tough to get a corked wine without a cork in there. You can still have issues, but you definitely have a better chance of having 100% great wines if they're made well with screw caps.
Here, Carol asked, where is York Mountain? So the York Mountain AVA is if you are going on 46 West towards Cambria. And once you get to the top of the first big grade, kind of after Jack Creek Road, you go into and cut through the York Mountain AVA.
Epic Winery.
Epic Winery, if you ever want to try some excellent wines. I think there's 3 wineries now, or possibly 3 in the York Mountain AVA. But Epic, Jordan Fiorentini, Bill Armstrong is the owner, Jordan Fiorentini, the winemaker. That's kind of they're the old York Mountain Winery now.
Yeah, and they've got a pretty good holding there, and they're making some really good stuff in that
wines.
AVA. Definitely. So yeah, just west of town, headed towards Cambria, Hearst Castle on 46 West. So I don't know how many miles. It's probably 5 or 6 miles.
Yeah,
to
it's
get
not
into
far.
Because I think it's about 2.5 to Peachy Canyon, our tasting room on 46 West, and then a few miles past that, and you'll be into the York Mountain AVA, just past Jack Creek Road and whatnot.
Yep.
Yeah. What else? What else is going on?
So yes, spring. We are in the thick of spring in the vineyards. The vines are screaming, growing fast. Now everybody I've talked to is like, it's go time. Tractors are going.
Shoot thinning, starting. Snakes are out.
Snakes are out thick.
We've got we've been shoot thinning my home ranch that I live at, and Jennifer my partner in crime, she almost grabbed a snake yesterday. So that was entertaining. And then she almost grabbed a rabbit, a little teeny baby cottontail. So the critters are out, spring's in full effect. And my cat murdered a mouse and brought it in the house pre-murder, let it run around and played with it on the floor. So then I had to go wipe up the floor. So everything's out and about. The bugs are thick.
It's good.
The
Everything's
plants are on
healthy.
fire. Yeah, they look beautiful. They're really kind of that neon green when they're first
Yeah.
growing, and they're just starting to darken up as far as the grapevines and the leaves. Veggies are kicking, and it's drying up quick. It dries up quick
The
around
ground
here.
is getting hard. I was out kicking the dirt earlier.
Well, since our last episode, we were on tractors for a week straight, pretty much just trying to get that, the places we do till, make sure we get those tilled and turned, those weeds turned back in and seal that moisture in, like we were talking about the dry farm hills. But that's what we've been doing for the past week. So spring is in the air. Allergies are kicking, as are just allergies. God dang it. What else is up?
We are changing the new episode.
Oh, yeah.
Starting next week, we're going to change the date and time so we can reach out to more people and allow you to enjoy it more on your Friday afternoon.
Closer to, timeout. So we're shifting to Fridays.
Fridays at 4 o'clock.
With May 8th being our debut Friday, episode 6, May 8th at 4 p.m. Get your glasses out. Get ready to rock and roll, because we'll be rolling into weekends from here on out, so that for you people that are actually watching and jumping in on this, you can enjoy it and not feel like you have
I gotta go back to work.
You gotta go back to work. I just had a glass of wine. I have full wine coma. Now I gotta go back. We've got another pack that we were talking about. Also, Skylar says he likes the rosé with age on them. So that's something to think about. We mentioned this is 2018. We did release it last summer or mid-spring. A lot of people are under the impression that whites are drink me now and they're not very ageable and this and that, but rosés can age nicely. A well-made wine can age nicely if it's cellared properly. These definitely have the acid to hang in there for a while. I've had 20-year-old Chardonnays that were killer. This is nowhere near that. This is 2018, both these. But yeah, I like them with a little age too, Sky Lord. Thank you, sir. The 4-pack, well, we're going to throw that out. We've been doing this last 4-pack, which was the Westside Cirque de Vin, Chardonnay, and Rosé. We're ending that and starting a new 4-pack program that's going to include, I believe, Para Siempre, our 2 Misbehaves, and our fish label Rosé, the Grenache Syrah blend that we talked about at the beginning of this episode. We're offering those 4. So you got Para Siempre, ultra premium, top of the list. You have the Misbehave Malbec, the Misbehave Petit Verdot. These bottles are all in the $40 range. We are offering this for, and that also. This is $139 for these 4 wines. We are also offering, if you want to double down with that, from here, the unforeseeable future, whatever it is, we're doing free shipping on any orders, $200 or more. So if you were going to get this pack, this next pack coming up, the 2 Misbehaves, the Par Siempre, and the fish label rosé, you could tack on a couple more bottles to round it up to $200 and get free shipping. That's a pretty big savings considering it could be $40 to ship just a few states away from California for outside. And if you're inside, it's going to save you $20 no matter what. So it's really cool. So 2 different things. Orders $200 and more are free shipping. And the new 4-pack, which I'm sure will come up on the screen if it hasn't already, it'll be on our website, is the 2017 Par Siempre, 2017 Misbehave Malbec, Misbehave Petit Verdot, and the 2018 Grenache Syrah Fish Label Rosé. 3 of those wines are wine club wines. And the fish label rosé is pretty much tasting room only. So, however, these aren't current wine club wines. These are the 17s. They're top notch, top shelf. If you're a club member and you jump on this, you know it's going to be like $114. You get a way smoking deal. So if you're watching this and thinking $139, I don't know. If you're a club member, it's even better deal than that. And then you double it down and you're getting 8 bottles at $200 and no shipping. It's sweet. I like it. Thank you. I want to get
Thirsty.
that. Yeah. Did you guys get all that? sometimes I get going.
I'm sure all pop up. It'll all make sense. You can always reach out to Susie.
One thing,
Peachy Canyon, or Christina at the tasting room, or T.
we're wrapping this up in 2 minutes. At the end of the show, we're going to show a really cool video called the D Block video. It was put together by Zinfandel advocates and producers, ZAP, which is a great organization of Zin producers and advocates, people that are really into that varietal. We are Peachy Canyon, so we are into Zin. We're part of that crew. But one of the things they put together was this video showing our D block. We have a block of Zinfandel, a 1 acre block here that is 18 different clones of Zinfandel. 18 or 19? I always get that confused.
18.
Planted in 1 acre. And what's so special about that, there's a lot of special things, but those, besides being 18 clones, all those clones come from vineyards that were 100 years old or older throughout the state of California. A lot of them don't exist anymore. We got the cuttings to preserve that clone. They've been taken out for whether it's been residential construction or whatnot, or they're just gonna plant something else because they weren't very productive. However, they were unique in that they were not like all the other Zins, and we thought it would be cool, and it's a much longer story than this, but it'd be
Say
cool
a
to
lot in the
plant.
video.
Yeah, the video will tell more. At any rate, the D Block video is coming up in a couple of minutes, and yeah, it's about this journey that we're on to grow these 18 different clones of Zin here at Peachy Canyon and produce a wine called D Block.
So before, thank you for watching. Palate Wrap. Remember, drink Paso, think Peachy, support local, support your local restaurants and wineries and stores and whatever it may be. Hopefully everybody's healthy and safe and sound. It sounds like we've flattened the curve a little bit and we're starting to come out of this. So
Let's take it easy.
can't
Don't
wait
go
to hopefully
crazy.
see everybody soon.
Yeah, we're looking forward to get the tasting room open. We're working on a table service program for once we
We
are
want to be
up
ready.
and running. Yeah, we'll be ready to come out swinging. We will be hanging at the tasting room quite a bit. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great weekend once it gets here.
Check it out.
Peace out.
See you next week.
Planted on a hilltop at Peachy Canyon's Paso Robles Mustang Springs Ranch, D Block is a 1 acre block with 18 different Zinfandel clones selected by ZAP and UC Davis for the Heritage Vineyard Research Project.
When it became the option to start to showcase the 18 different clones that ZAP had come up with, Peachy Canyon threw their hat in the ring that said, we want to be a part of this project.
To account for tiny differences in moisture retention and climate, each clone's planting site was mapped out meticulously.
We couldn't just make one row of the number 1 and one row of number 2. We made a grid of all 18 to get a good expression of those throughout the 1 acre. It's really hard to pick now that we pull the fruit in because you got to walk back and forth and find those tags.
When the fruit is harvested, the visual differences between clones is startling. But when it's time to make the wine, the harvest is too small to ferment separately.
When I first started making the D Block wine, it is a 1 acre block and there's 18 different clones planted on it. Too small for me to do, really small ferments of each.
If you ask Peachy Canyon, they'll tell you that variety of clonal material in a single block is the source of D Block's filled-in palate.
That vineyard and that block is special, primarily because of the different clones. It helps fill all the gaps and the mountains and valleys. You get a great front palate and mid palate and back palate, and I attribute that to the clones.
There's no other wine in the world that's come from this vineyard, and that keeps it unique and special for that customer.